Hi everyone, this is Jack R. Raconter 1, and we've reached another milestone, 5800th video. It really is remarkable. Over about a 10-year span, maybe 11 years by this time, and we soldier on. You know, it's really been a difficult year and a year and a half. But looking back on things that have happened in our lifetimes, there have always been trials and tribulations of one type or another. I remember my mom telling me about the pandemic that happened in 1918, and she got sick, and so did her sister, my aunt. Both of them were quite sick. My aunt more sick than my mom, and on my father's side, his his mother died of the virus. So I never knew her, never met her. I don't even have a picture of her. So that and there were a lot of absence of pictures back in the day. On my father's side, they really were immigrants from somewhere over in Czechoslovakia, and they were land serfs, tenant farmer type situation for both, basically farming the land but having no ownership of it. They came over on a cattle boat in steerage, and the grandfather worked for the Pennsylvania Railroad laying track. So very tough life. And on my mother's side, they were a little bit more fortunate, but my grandmother worked in the silk mill up through her 90s. She died at 100 years of age. So these people knew work, they knew hard times, they knew how to survive hard times, and they just took a stoic look at what had to be done and did it. That was true during World War II. I remember that. I remember listening to the broadcasts about what was happening in the South Pacific, Iwo Jima and so on. I remember the radio bulletins that happened in the 40s. I was just a young one, but I remember that vividly. And I remember the rationing. I remember my mom taking the ration book to the corner grocery store. There were allotments of meat and milk and butter and so on. And we got oleomargarine, which looked like butter, kind of, but it was completely white. And supposedly the dairy industry ensured that it remained white because they didn't want it confused with butter, the real thing. So they had a little red button in the middle of the glassine pack of oleomargarine. The idea was you needed that red button with your fingers to spread the red color, which became kind of a yellow, pale yellow color throughout the oleomargarine. So that was my job. So we all survived that, saving cooking grease, growing our own vegetables. We did that. We had a tomato patch and corn and cucumbers and green beans, as I remember, in the back. So that's what we did for vegetables, and I sold them door to door, the overage. So that taught me about making money selling things door to door. So we survived that. So if we survived that, we hopefully can bolster our spirits to get through this, although it's a long-term thing. And it's a test of endurance, really. But I think if we have the right spirit, we'll make it. So, that being said, that puts us into the position of talking about the car shows. And I am running low in videos that I've done so far. It'll take me to about uh, September 11th, I believe, but I'm on the hunt for new material. So tomorrow I'm going to the local car show, and hopefully I'll see some cars I haven't seen before, but we don't know about that. The following weekend, Monday, is the holiday, Labor Day, I believe, yeah, and there's a car show in Lakeland. Lisa's scheduled for that, so it's my intention to go to that. So we'll see what happens there. I have more hopes that I'll see some cars that I haven't seen already in Lakeland, and if so, I'll be sure to put them up right away. So there are my plans. There are more shows going on. The problem is that here in Florida, this is the rainy season. Unfortunately, a lot of the car shows are scheduled for the afternoon, and oftentimes that's when the rain occurs. When the rain occurs, people either A, don't show up for the car show, or B, it's almost futile to go there and get rained out and rain so hard that you can't see anything. So that can put a kibosh on the on videoing during the summer, but I will make the attempt. I make use of the weather radar on the computer screen to judge how likely it is that there'll be any cars there, and whether it'll be raining real hard or not. So we'll just have to see. But there are other shows coming up. There's the Sumter Fairgrounds is resuming their first Sunday of the month show again. But all this is in the backdrop of a real crisis we have in Florida right now with the COVID virus. More hospitalizations. Actually, I heard today that there were portable morgues that have been shipped in because there's a shortage of places to put the people who have died. So it's bad, and this virus is very transmissible. So in all these, I'm using my judgment as far as how whether a show is a good place to go to. If it's indoors, I'm not going. That's the bottom line. If it's outside, I'll take my chances. If people are pretty well separated, we'll just see how that is. But I think I'll probably be wearing masks during that time. So, yeah, I wish you all success in your particular battle against this virus. And if that's not enough, we have a hurricane on its way to Louisiana. We have fires in the west, and it just seems to never end. So whatever the obstacles you face, I wish you the strength to make it through, with the hope that there'll be a better day on the other side. So that's, might as well tell you, I'm going to end this with a little discussion of our first car, the Henry J. I've mentioned this before, but I think it bears repeating. We had no car until I was 12 years of age, and so we went shopping, my father and I. My father knew nothing about cars and really wasn't interested in cars, and he avoided cars almost his entire life. So at any rate, he and I went to the Kaiser Fraser dealer, which is on the outskirts of the town. It was right next to a recycling yard, which was not certainly not a first-class place to have a dealership. At any rate, here was this 52 Henry J. Vagabond sitting on the showroom floor, black, and it had a 4-cylinder engine. Optional was a 6-cylinder, and but it turns out that through reading the last onslaught on Detroit It's a very informative book, that these 52 vagabonds were really 51 Kaiser Henry J's that didn't sell and were shipped back to Willow Run, where they were built and reserialized and became 52 vagabonds. So we got it without any extras, really. We got a couple vents that opened up. That was it. No trunk lid, and of course manual transmission. They didn't offer automatic on Henry J's. And it was transportation. We had it for 4 years, and it was famous for, after a while, it burned points, as I remember, and that was about it. It was fairly uneventful mechanically, but one thing that was a constant annoyance was the choke. It had a manual choke, and in the morning it was okay. Open it up all the way, the choke, and it would start. But after you ran it for a while, stopped, let it sit for a while, and then tried to restart, you had to be an engineer to guess exactly where that choke should be pulled to get the thing restarted. If you messed up, the car would get vapor locked, and then you would sit for anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes till you got another try. Very irritating. So, it was not a fond memory. It was kind of laughed at. Nobody really thought very much of it. It did get you where you wanted to go, but it was embarrassingly stripped of equipment. That's where the Rambler did much better, because they recognized people didn't want completely stripped cars. So I hope you enjoy this little delve back into history, and stay tuned to the channel. I will do my best with safety in mind to continue the one video a day as long as I possibly can. And if I can't do that, then I'll go back through memory lane maybe a few times, and some of you suggested that, so we'll give that one a try too. So take care, and good luck.